So behind us is the old stone fort, except it's not the original old stone fort because the old stone fort was dismantled and certainly wasn't in this location. Let's roll it back to 1779 when the founder of Nacogdoches, a fellow by the name of Gilly E. Barble, set up a commercial house. Essentially, it's a warehouse and store combination. And it was the center of commercial activity in early Nacogdoches. And as such, it was a landmark, and it was the place where people, usually when they came to town, this was one of their first stops. So it absolutely figured into most of the early history of Texas. I mean, you can't underestimate how important this building was, except it's not the original building. All right, so the old stone fort saw a number of characters pass through. When Philip Nolan was filibustering in Texas, the troops that came looking for him came through here. And the ones that did not get killed over on the Bosque River ended up being incarcerated here. Zebulon Pike expedition, when they get picked off over in New Mexico and hauled all the way down into central Mexico and then returned to the United States, they're billeted at the Old Stone Fort on their way back to the U.S. The Gutierrez-McGee expedition, they come through here and they establish or at least declare a Republic of Texas with the Old Stone Fort as serving as something of their first headquarters. Hayden Edwards, when he throws the Fredonia Rebellion, it's the Old Stone Fort that he's using, which is not really a fort, but it is made of stone, but it's really a warehouse and a store and kind of a central holding area where you can conduct business, and so a little bit of government activity, but it's never really a government sanctioned building. When the American colonists in Texas decide that they're going to start agitating against the Mexican government in 1832, the Irish Bayou Boys come over here and they're trying to throw the Mexican garrison out of the Old Stone Fort. So that first battle of Nacogdoches in 32 factors around the Old Stone Fort. So very important all the way up to the Texas Revolution. David Crockett coming in to Nacogdoches on his way to Destiny stops off here, and essentially people are happy to see him, to throw him a little party. It's a pretty fascinating structure. The problem is that as Nacogdoches grows up, the Old Stone Fort is no longer as important as it used to be. And then it passes into private hands in the late 19th century, gets turned into a saloon and kind of an eyesore in town, and nobody's really happy about it. And then somebody needs the commercial property, and essentially it's dismantled. And all these stones are held in trust by a women's organization here in town, and they use it to build some public buildings, use the materials to build a public building as part of the Nacogdoches School District. And then Stephen F. Austin State University, one of the fine universities in the state of Texas, took all those building materials, took the building down yet again, and then rebuilt this replica of the Old Stone Fort. So that's essentially what the Old Stone Fort looked like, but it wasn't on this, it wasn't in this very lush campus situation. It was actually right downtown at the intersection of the Camino Real and the San Antonio Road that was heading over towards Natchitoches in Louisiana, and Nacogdoches anchors it on this side. Trammel's Trace would have passed right by it. So it's at a major East Texas intersection, but not anymore. Now it is a building on campus, and there's a dorm right behind it, and there's academic buildings over here. So it's kind of, a quaint sort of appendage to the university, but it represents a powerful and vastly important Texas story.